That was very, very brave of you. So yeah, question. In the I without again trying not to spoil the series, there is a possibility actually. There's a hanging part in it. Where did they tell you that there will be a part two possibility of the series? Di ba parang hanging siya? And there was a scene na parang there was another like a guy that will enter into the relationship already. So
Yes, yes.
may part two ba siya? May sequel ba siya?
Well, honestly, wala din akong idea kasi when I read the script, I was thinking the exact same thing, but since I was so nervous regarding this whole this whole episode, I forgot to ask. I actually forgot to ask you. You reminded me right now, and I might actually go ahead and ask them now kasi lumalabas na siya, right? And since now I know that how good the quality was, and it's like uh, I would say it's almost comparable to international standards like Netflix
Yes.
or whatever you want to
Yeah.
compare it to, right?
Mm-mm.
So that's the first thing I said to our director that direct like di ako sanay sa ganun klaseng qualities of Philippines. Like you have done a
Yes.
great job, and I'm like your fan now. Like I want to work with you all the time.
Oh yeah. It was really revealing. It was really the sexiest. Yun nga, sinabi mo sa post mo sa Instagram. It is the sexiest episode of Hush Yet, and it was true. I've seen everything. It was by far the steamiest. Now, question, going back to baka merong sequel, and there's a
Hmm.
possibility that you may be doing it with, I'm not sure, baka gana doing it with a guy. Is it kissing with a guy? Are you open to that?
I'm actually open to it because even during quarantine, there were multiple times when people were contacting me for BL series. So
Yes,
that's
BLs are a big thing. Yeah.
right. So I actually I actually auditioned for a role before with a Hollywood director. That's the coolest part. So it was not a Philippines production; it was a Hollywood production, but they are making it in the Philippines, and it's a team from UK. But then I don't really know what happened because I cleared the audition, and then I've already acted. I've practiced acting a BL scene. I
You
mean,
did, you did.
not with someone, but then same like
Just
this, like
yourself.
on Zoom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
on Zoom, they gave me a script. I did it, and luckily they liked me, and they were like, "Oh, he's perfect for this role." And then uh, they told me that okay, we will be getting you for this role, but then siguro dahil sa situation ngayon, hindi pa siya tuloy. I don't know if it's still gonna push through or not, but if it pushes through, I might be having a BL series also, but then
Wow.
I haven't really heard from them since a month. I'm not really sure what's happening because everything is so slow these days. I mean,
Yeah, of course,
99
a lot of
naman kasi
limitations.
like
Yeah.
yes. But I might actually be having a BL series in the near future kung tuloy yung production.
Okay, so right now, Adi, you said you were with Powerhouse. So you're basically freelance. You can work with ABS, with GMA, with TV5.
I could even when I was with Powerhouse, I could have worked with ABS and GMA. That's how I have been doing my guestings with ABS because when it comes to network, I have been freelance since more than a year, maybe. When did I become freelance? I mean, when it comes to network, I was freelance since 1.5 year, and then for 1 year I was signed with Powerhouse. So even though I was freelance with the networks, I still had a manager.
You still have a
So
manager. But
yeah,
that's,
so
that's,
I was under a management but freelance for the networks. But now I am completely freelance, so that means I can literally do anything I want.
okay. Going back to the plot of Hush. It's such a complicated relationship, right? Is it something that already
Complicated ba
happened?
yan? Parang normal para sa akin.
Okay, okay. Sige, parang normal sa'yo. Is it something that you've already experienced in real life? And if ever wala pa, is it something that you're open to? Like, they call it open relationship, actually.
I would say that it's just about any guy's dream to be having a relationship
Mm-hmm.
like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. But then my experience from my past relationships has been that it's like a fantasy, you know. Okay, so I have been in three serious relationships my entire life,
Mm-hmm.
and the third one being the one I'm in right now. So that's another thing what has been keeping me busy during quarantine. I got a new girlfriend.
At least, diba? At least there's someone who's additionally making you sing during the pandemic.
Yeah. So, um, but what I'm talking about is my second relationship, which was like the longest I've been in. I think it lasted almost for if I'm not wrong, around 5 years. So when I was in that relationship, I was really pushing for something like this, you know, like
Mm.
because we are like super close and parang wala kaming secrets or anything, and I'm just like I can just speak my mind, you know, when you reach the level of relationship where you don't have to think or filter out any thoughts. So I spoke about something like this. I was like, you know, like what if like blah 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 something like if we
Mm-hmm.
do stuff like that. And the coolest part was that she was open to it because parang hindi siya 100% straight. I mean, she wasn't exactly completely bi because wala naman siyang
She's
masyadong
fluid.
experience. Yeah, but then she was open to it. But then the minute she said that she's open to it, parang mawala yung fantasy factor, and suddenly I started caring about her emotions.
Ah,
It's weird. Like it's so weird because when you actually love someone, it's like you don't wanna take a chance to mess things up, right?
yeah. That was the
So
effect on you. It made you appreciate her more.
exactly, because she was open to it, so I'm like,
Mm.
oh damn, I don't want to mess this up, right? So that's what happened to me in the past. But then with my girlfriend today, I mean with my girlfriend ngayon, I don't think I would want to push for something like that because during the time when I was single, I I experienced a lot, and then I came to a realization that um, fantasies are amazing, like for the first time. You want to experience everything when you're single. That's what I would say. Like
Yep.
if I can talk to someone who is younger than me, I would tell them that, you know, like, have no boundaries, do everything that you want to do it once, get it out of your system, because once nagawa mo na, it's gonna be like you don't really care about it anymore, because then it comes down to more about quality over quantity. You know, like you rather have one nice girl than trying to make it work with two different girls. So that's what I have learned with my own personal experience in real life, that yes, it's pretty much every guy's fantasy to be like in an open relationship and having multiple girls or multiple partners at the same time. But then it all boils down to your quality of relationship in
Yes.
the long run,
True.
rather than just running after one tiny fantasy which will last what, a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it's gonna have, because things like that are gonna have a long lasting effect on your relationship, right? Because either you both are going to enjoy it, or one of you is going to enjoy it and the other one is going to be like turned off by it when they actually see your partner, when you actually see your partner with someone else. It's obviously going to have a very strong effect on your mind, and you may like it or you may not like it. It depends from person to person, but the thing is, you will be betting 50-50 on it, because you don't know what you're going to feel when you see your loved one with someone else. So I would say that if you're willing to risk your relationship, like with a 50-50 chance, go for it. But if you want your partner to be like someone who is gonna be with you for a long duration, then I would not bet on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you are the writer of that series or that episode, and then if you would want to put an ending on it, there was like some sort of hanging kasi yung ending niya, diba? So if you would put,
Ah.
ikaw mismo, you would put an ending towards it. How do you want it to end? The story between you, Debbie, and Athena.
Mm. If I'm the writer, well, I'm not a writer. That's the thing. So the only way I would know how to write is by using my personal life and thinking that what do I think is gonna happen to someone who's in a relationship like that. And I personally think that what is gonna happen is that the character of Debbie will eventually fall in love with the guy, and she will try to like just eliminate the
Athena.
competition. And
Yeah.
yes, she will try to eliminate Athena completely, and that's where the fiction will happen. And it's not going to end very nicely for Debbie's character, because since they are married, I think they will stick to each other, and eventually the third party will, I think, usually suffers. So, uh, because it's like uh, Bianca's character is open to it, and she wants to use Debbie's character for experimentation. But then by the
Hmm.
end of it, there's understanding, right? And once you reach that level of understanding, I don't think they're going to break. And if they're not going to break, and if what was the name of Debbie's character again? I,
Uh,
um,
it was Debbie. Cheska. Sorry, Cheska. That's her
Cheska, yeah,
character,
Cheska.
Cheska.
So I feel like someone like Cheska would, in the long run, when they do it multiple times, might eventually fall for James. And when that happens, that's the time when she needs to be removed out of the picture, because she will only be creating problems in the relationship. And so as a writer, I would end it with Cheska being heartbroken and going like furious over James for not reciprocating the feelings that she expressed, and that creating a friction between Cheska and James, because obviously James will be affected, and uh, with Cheska's reaction, and he will talk about it to his wife, and they will decide to end it. I think
Yeah.
that's what
It's
will
a,
ha- that's like very realistic though. Like like
that's an
that's what will
ideal.
happen in real life.
Yeah, that's an ideal ending, and I think that's what most people would like to see for that story to
Oh,
end.
really?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, oh well, not really, but I think that's because Hush is actually made for like modern audiences. You know what I mean? And
uh,
that's an ideal for modern people. So what can you okay? The question going back to the what you discussed about BL, I think that India is not really, you're originally from India, and it's not an openly, or it's not as open as the Philippines when it comes to tolerance towards homosexuality, right? So what made you decide, or what made you say that it's okay for you to do a BL role, that it's okay for you to kiss another person on screen?
it's primarily all thanks to my parents, because it all started with a bench under the stars. So the time when I was about to do my first underwear, as you said, like being an Indian, I was okay. This is gonna sound really ironic to you, like especially after you have seen all this Hush and everything.
Yeah,
So
it's okay.
when I first arrived in the Philippines, I was conservative to the point that when I started in modeling, and they asked me, "Hey, Adi, for this VTR, you need to take off your shirt," and I was like, uh, right now in front of everyone. That's where I started. Like, can you imagine? Like, that's just a couple of years back. So that's how conservative I was when I started in this industry. And then from modeling, it went to acting, and then in meant to be like pool scenes were like non-stop happening, you
Yes,
know.
yes, I could
And then
recall. Yeah.
that's the time when I started becoming like mas sanay ako sa mga ganun, and I started getting comfortable with it. But then the milestone was when they asked me to do underwear, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm comfortable. I want to do it. Like in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I come on. Addy's image is sexy, so I should be comfortable with doing any of those things, right? But the thing is, hindi siya normal sa India. So kung halimbawa kung nakita ang mga kaibigan ko na gumagawa ko ng ganun klaseng stuff sa Philippines, they're not gonna look down on me or anything, but they will be shocked. They will be like, "Oh my God, really? Like, damn!" So it's hindi naman siya negative, pero it's not normal. It's very far from normal in India. So I would say that I adjusted my culture a lot to fit with the Filipino standard, because Filipinos often say that Philippines is a conservative country, and I laugh at it. I laugh on their face, because Philippines is not conservative to me from any angle. Lalo na dahil Indian ako, so dahil mas conservative kami, para sa akin parang Western country ang Pilipinas. So that's how
Yeah,
big the difference is.
yeah, that's coming from a different standpoint. That's coming from where you come from. That the Philippines is not
Exactly.
conservative at all. Yeah, um, and yeah, the country is slowly, moving towards that westernized ideology. Actually, so parang acceptable. Not yet. There's BL already becoming tolerant
Exactly.
towards that kind of
But
angle.
I'm actually really happy about it, because LGBT is one of the main things that I stand for. Like out of, I mean, I'm guessing that
LGBT
every
members are
actor.
one of your biggest fans.
Oh, well, I wasn't going for that. What I was actually saying was that that's one of the main causes that I support, because I have so many friends and managers and personal experience that made me like feel so strongly towards the LGBT thing. And like because there's so many of you guys in the Philippines that I don't understand that why is it not like normal already? Like why are we pretending that it's still like like
Like a
not
taboo.
okay?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly, right. So coming from a very logical point of view, like it makes no sense to me. So yeah, like I really wanna make contribute my part in making Philippines reach the level where it's like maybe like until it reaches the point where gay marriage is acceptable, like that's something I want to see happening within my lifetime, because I think Philippines is there already. Like
Yeah.
it should already be happening. So it's one of the biggest causes that I support. But anyways, going back to what we were talking about, what was I talking about? I forgot now.
You were talking about being open, LGBT not being a taboo.
Yes. Yeah, it all started with the bench thing, and I
So that was like
before I
your sort of awakening, the bench
yes.
show.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the time when I made a phone call to my parents, and I was like, okay, listen, I'm about to do this for the first time, and I don't know
Mm,
if I should be doing, and is it okay with you guys? Like, of course, I was hindi ako sure kung anong magiging reaction nila pag when I'm gonna be like, hey, I wanna do underwear, right? But I was really, really surprised. My parents are like the coolest parents in India, I think.
they
So
just
this
said
is
yes,
what,
no problem.
not even that, they actually pushed me to do it. So this is what my dad said to me. I was so shocked. So it's like I almost felt like mas conservative ba ako kesa kanila? Like what's going on? Because my dad was like, okay, so let's say you don't do underwear right now. Let's say you turn down this bench thing, and you save it for the future pag mas mature ka na. What do you want to do? You want to you want to be like sexy once nobody wants to see you sexy anymore, like once lakpas ka na ng 30 or something. Because I
Yeah.
think when I did my first underwear, I was, how old was I think I was 23 yata. 20,
Yeah, that was
yeah.
like around
uh
3 years ago.
yeah, so I think I was 23 if I'm not mistaken, and he was like, nobody will want to see you sexy once maybe like after 30. Like, I mean, of course you can still try to maintain it, but then the peak of sexiness should be reached before
20. Yeah.
30. So I was like, that's true. I mean, he has a point, right? And he's like, if you're not going to do it now, let's say you get your next chance after 3 years, you're simply just reducing your time to be sexy. So what's the point of, building this whole body and being on this strict diet all the
Yeah, and
time
then
if you're
keeping
never
it.
gonna,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was just like looking at my, it was a video call, so I was just looking at my dad like in a shock, and I'm like, yeah, everything you're saying is true.
Makes
I should
sense.
do it. I should do it. He convinced me in like less than a minute.
Oo, parang
So
recall, so parang hindi ka naman nag-undergo ng process because you really made the crowd crazy during the show.
but I have to be honest. Even when I did the bench thing, I was nervous. I know hindi halata na nervous ako, pero what I did was I actually used one of the techniques that were taught to me in my acting workshops with GMA. What they taught us was how to basically alter reality in my mind. So if I make it very simple, when you saw me on the stage in bench, it was not me, it was Jai Patel, because Jai Patel was kind of like something, a very familiar feeling to me, because I've done it for so long that I can easily transform into Jai Patel, right? So he's the kind of guy who would be very comfortable doing any kind of such stuff, because he was like a show off playboy, kind of like a badass vibe. So what you saw was basically Jai Patel. It was
It's an alter ego.
almost like that. But then that's the time when I was really not yet comfortable doing such things. So I had to use those acting techniques to be able to deliver something like that. But I think at this point, parang sanay na ako, so kaya ko naman na kahit,
So in
kahit
the
ako lang.
future, if you would remember what Rocco Natino wore and Marky Strom
Oh
wore
my
during the show,
God!
kaya mo na yan.
Okay. So there's a big difference between kaya mo na yan and kung gusto mo ba. Kasi
Oh, sige.
the thing is, para sa akin, okay, I'll let you in a secret. So, since the beginning of this lockdown and since I got a girlfriend, like I have been like a online shopping or online shopaholic. Yeah, that's the right
Wow.
word to use. I have been buying like every day. There's like 5, 6 deliveries getting delivered, and one of the things that I keep ordering is like costumes.
Sorry, what's that? Sorry?
It's like costumes for
A
her. Like,
costume.
yeah. So, whenever I'm like about to buy stuff, like sexy stuff for her, I'm always looking for sexy stuff for me. Because, like, para maging fair, like, I wanna be on the same level. And whenever I search for guy stuff, yung lumalabas lagi, it's like elephant, like just an elephant. Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah,
How is that sexy, right? So I really feel like kulang tayo ng lalaki sa mga sexy suot. Like, parang
yeah.
walang masyadong options, 'di ba? Like, para sa
Yeah.
mga babae, meron daming options para maging sexy, pero
Mm.
pagdating sa lalaki, wala.
Limited. Oh.
Wala. Like, all I see is like these like leather belts, like just like one string going. Like, come on, what the hell is that?
Yes, yes.
I even have one of those, and you know what happened? I wore it, and my girlfriend was laughing on my face. She was like, "Oh my God, what is this?"
So going back to the question, gusto mo ba or kaya mo ba?
Kaya ko naman, pero I hope that I mean what Rocco did was fine, but then I really hope that if one day when I'm open to it, I'm willing to do it, but I hope that one day when I do it, it's like maybe a designer makes me something which which is like on the same level as the girls, you know, because
Mm.
I actually enjoy being sexy. Like I'm comfortable.
So, so you have
I
the right to feel that way. I can see.
well, firstly, thank you so much for saying that. And
You're welcome.
um,
Pinaghirapan mo yan eh. Diet and everything. Diba? So, of course, you have the right to say that and to feel that way.
so so this is something I actually enjoy doing, but then like I want to be able to be on the same level as the girls, because for me, like it's much when it comes to being sexy for a girl, like she can do so many things. Like there's so many options available for a girl compared to a guy. Like it's very limited market, and I really
Mm.
hope that in the coming near future more of the designers are gonna be like making clothes or basta kahit ano, costumes, clothes, whatever you want to call it, like meant for guys, which are gonna be providing us with equal options as the girls, because I would love to wear and be sexy like how how the girls have such a huge variety of options. I want to see that happening within my lifetime.
For the men, yeah. Well,
Yes.
let's wish for that. Let's hope for that. Question lang again, Addy. You've started it already with Hush. It's like a 360. Ikaw nga, sinabi mo nga kanina, it's like a massive shift from where you were meant to be to know Hush. So is that the direction already?
Let's put the anchor point at circus. Are you familiar with the show called Circus? I think that's how you pronounce it in Tagalog, right? Circus.
Which streaming app is it?
No. This is GMA Fantaserie. I actually had a role in Circus where I was playing a 13-year-old,
Mm-hmm.
and one of
Oh, I
the first
remember.
lines of my character was one of the first lines of my character was uh, hindi na ako bata, 13 na ako. And I was like, oh my god, how can I be playing 13-year-old at, like, I think that time when I was playing that character, I was already 23 or 24. And, I mean, syempre, kita pa rin ang katawan ko kahit nakasuot ako ng full sleeves, right? And what I was wearing in that was parang costume, like parang katulad ng superheroes or whatever. It was like a body fitted costume, full sleeve. And kitang-kita yung lahat ng cuts ko, and like even the nerves, like the veins in my neck are showing. And then I'm like, 13, 13 na ako. That's the anchor
13.
point, because that's where I was just a couple of years back. Maybe like 2 years back, I was playing 13 years old, and now I'm doing something like so
Like
sexy
Hush.
as Hush.
Yeah. So will your fans, most of your fans, most of them are in the LGBT society, will they be expecting more of you or mas grabe pa sa Hush?
I'm pretty sure they would, because the reaction for Hush was pretty strong. Like I've been getting so many long messages on my social medias, like talking about it, that they watched it. They are like so descriptive, like, you know, like, I love this scene, like, oh my god, Ari was so sexy, di ko ini-expect na kaya mo yun, kasi kahit sexy naman ang image ko dati pa, pero hindi katulad ng level ng Hush. So parang sobrang close ako sa mga fans ko. Like we have a Facebook group called Addicted, and I actually interact with them whenever pag may time ako. I'm always talking to them on a very close level, and then a lot of times I stream ML on my Facebook, and
Oh, you do
I'm talking.
ML. Mm.
Yes.